Liam sat alone in his small room on the human side of the station. A dim light glowed above his desk. His tablet screen was filled with alien symbols and words. He had been reading for hours, searching through everything written about the Viari. His thoughts kept going back to the moment when Commander Jira had walked out after he called her beautiful. He didn't mean anything strange. It was just a polite compliment. But now he knew Viari culture didn't work that way. Their traditions were older and deeper than he had realized. He found one part of the guide that made his heart race. Calling a Viari beautiful is not the same as a casual compliment. It is connected to sacred rituals, often spoken only during bonding ceremonies, courtship, or as a mark of deep personal honor. Liam leaned back in his chair. His mouth felt dry. Had he really said something that serious to a toe-pranking alien commander? He kept reading. Among the Viari, emotions are private. Showing too much feeling in public is seen as weakness. They speak with control and live by strict rules of honor. To show someone deep respect, one must prove it with action. That explained her cold reaction. It wasn't anger. It was confusion. Maybe even shock. He read another line that made him sit up straighter. If an outsider says such words without understanding, the Viari may take it as a challenger, as a sign of truth seen from a pure heart. Liam rubbed his forehead. Great, he muttered. I may have just started an interstellar romance or a duel. Just then, the door chimed. He stood and opened it. Captain Rosa stood outside, arms crossed. She's coming back, she said. Liam blinked. Who? Commander Jira. The Viari ship just sent word. She returned to the talks in 1 hour. Liam nodded slowly. Rosa gave him a sharp look. Whatever happened between you two, just don't make it worse. Wait. I didn't mean anything bad, Liam said softly. I know, Rosa replied. But their people are proud. Careful. You touched something deep. Now you have to walk carefully. An hour later, the meeting room, the humans were already seated. Everyone was quiet. The metal doors opened. Commander Jira entered with 2 Viari, guards behind her. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharper than before. She walked slowly to her chair and sat down without looking at anyone. The talks continued. Captain Rosa spoke about trade routes and security agreements. Jira answered with strong, short words, but something was different. She glanced at Liam now and then, quick glances, curious ones. Liam stayed silent, only speaking when asked to. Translate or explain a term, but the air was heavy. Something unsaid was hanging between them at the end of the meeting. Jira stood and looked at Captain Rosa. I wish to speak with your translator alone. Everyone froze again. Captain Rosa looked at Liam. Are you okay with that? Liam nodded, even though his heart was racing. Yes. Jira motioned him to follow. They walked down a long silver hallway to a quiet chamber near the docking bridge. The room was empty, except for a round table and 2 chairs. She sat down. He followed. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she spoke. You used a word, Jira said slowly, a word not often spoken by outsiders. Do you understand what it means? Liam took a deep breath. Now I do. I read about it after you left. She nodded once. Then why did you say it? I was trying to be kind, Liam said honestly. I didn't know it carried such weight in your culture. But I meant it. I didn't lie. Jira watched him closely. You were not trained in our ways, yet you saw something. I saw strength, Liam said. Not just in your armor or your words. In how you sat still while others talked, and how you listened without needing to prove anything. Gara leaned back slightly. Her face was unreadable, but her voice had softened just a little. In our world, she said, to say such a word to someone like me means you are ready to face trials. To prove your words are not empty. Liam stayed calm. Then tell me what those trials are. She raised an eyebrow. You would accept them? Without knowing what they are? He nodded. Yes. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she reached into a small pouch at her side and placed a silver coin-like object on the table. It had strange markings and a glowing red line down the center. This is a Viari trust token, she said. Few outsiders receive one. I give it to you not as a promise, but as an opening. If you accept it, you accept the path. Liam picked it up. The token felt cold and heavy. He could feel energy inside it. I accept, he said quietly. Jira stood. Then prepare yourself. You've stirred something ancient. Your path will not be easy. She turned to leave, then stopped at the door. Without looking back, she said, You are not like the others. You speak without fear. That is rare. The door slid shut behind her. Liam stood alone, holding the token. He didn't know exactly what he had started, but he knew it mattered, and deep in her ship, Commander Jira sat in silence, holding her fingers lightly over her chest. A whisper passed through her thoughts. He saw me, not my armor, not my title, just me. For the first time in many years, she felt unsure, but also for the first time, she didn't feel alone. Liam stood near the edge of the long metal table, his hands folded behind his back. Around him, the large meeting room buzzed with quiet tension. This was the first peace talk between humans and the Vieri, a powerful alien race known for their strict rules, sharp honor, and cold manners. The room had white walls, shining lights, and a large round window showing the stars outside. Humans sat on one side of the table. The Vieri, tall with dark skin and glowing silver eyes, sat on the other. Wore polished armor, even though no one expected a fight. Liam was not a soldier or a commander. He was a translator and cultural expert. He had studied over 20 alien languages. This was his first time meeting a Vieri face-2-face. At the center of the Vieri side sat Commander Jira. She was calm, silent, and fierce-looking. Her armor was black with red marks that showed her high rank. Her long hair was tied tightly, and her sharp eyes missed nothing. The human captain, Rosalind, began the talks. We come in peace. We hope today will begin a future of trade, support. In friendship? Jira gave a small nod. We agree to speak, she said in a deep voice. But words are not enough. We listen. We will decide if you are worth our time. Her words were not friendly, but Liam had read Vieri history. This was normal for them. They didn't smile. They didn't joke. Respect came through action, not words. As the talks went on, Liam quietly watched Jira. She spoke clearly, but never showed emotion. Her posture was perfect. Her voice never changed. She listened, but never reacted. He found her interesting, strong, unshaken, not just because she was a warrior, but because she carried herself like stone calm and powerful. After 2 hours, the talks paused. Everyone stood for a short break. Liam took a step closer to Jira. He had no plan. He just wanted to be polite. Maybe a little kind. He smiled and said gently, You look beautiful today. The room froze. No one moved. No one spoke. Even Liam felt the silence drop like ice. Gara turned slowly. Her silver eyes locked onto his. Her face stayed blank, but something had changed in the air. Her guards looked shocked. Her second-in-command took one step forward, as if unsure what to do. Liam's smile faded. I just meant... He started. But Jara raised her hand. Not in anger, not in threat, just silence. Then, without a word, she turned and walked out of the room. The metal door shut behind her with a hiss. Everyone looked at Liam. Captain Rosa blinked. What? Just happened. I don't know, Liam said, confused. I was trying to be nice. One of the human officers whispered. You told her she's beautiful? Liam nodded slowly. Another officer covered his face.
You might have...
Just proposed marriage in their culture. What? Liam asked, eyes wide. Captain Rosa sighed. Liam, you better start reading faster. You may have just insulted our Charmda Viari commander. Liam sat down, stunned. He had no idea his words could mean so much. On the Viari ship, Commander Jira stood alone in her private room. The walls were dark and smooth. Soft red light filled the space. She touched the side of her face gently. No one had ever said that to her before, not even her own kind. Beautiful. Among Veari, that word was rarely used. It meant more than looks. It meant strength of soul. It meant the person had honor, wisdom, and power in ways that could not be seen with eyes. To say it to someone without deep knowledge, without trials, was unthinkable. But the human had said it, calmly, kindly, and without fear. Was it a trick? No. His eyes had been honest. She had watched them carefully. Still, the meaning was too big. Too fast, too bold, and yet something inside her had moved. Just a little, a feeling she could not name. A warmth she had not felt in years. She looked out the window, thinking, had a human just offered her the highest kind of respect in their own strange way? Was it foolish or brave? Back in the human meeting room, Liam sat with a tablet. Searching through the cultural guidebooks on the Viori, he read, "The term beautiful in Viori speech is sacred. It is tied to inner greatness. In older traditions, calling someone beautiful without proof of worth was seen as disrespectful, unless it came from someone who saw through the outer mask." Liam swallowed. He hadn't insulted her. He had done something far more dangerous. He had spoken to her soul. "Captain," Rosa patted him on the back. "Well, translator, looks like the next move is hers." And deep in the silent halls of the Veari ship, Commander Jira whispered to herself, "A human with no fear of my shadow. Strange, but interesting." The next morning, the space station felt different. People still walked through the halls, spoke over radios, and checked their monitors, but there was a strange silence in the air. It's a silence that came with whispers, sideways glances, and raised eyebrows. Everyone was talking about the same thing, Liam and the Viari. Commander, no one said it out loud during official meetings, but the rumors moved fast. Some believed Liam had insulted her. Others thought he had followed some ancient alien tradition and started a bonding process. A few even joked that a peace treaty might come from romance instead of politics. But Liam wasn't laughing. He stood in front of the mirror in his quarters, fixing the collar of his uniform. His fingers touched the Viari trust token hanging from a chain around his neck. Last night, after Jira gave it to him, he barely slept. He kept reading their customs until his eyes burned. Every line he read told him the same thing he had. Crossed a line that few humans ever had. And yet, she hadn't punished him. She had tested him. Now something had begun. A knock came at his door. He opened it and found Captain Rosa standing there, arms behind her back. "You're wanted in the main hall," she said. "Another meeting?" Liam asked. "Not quite," she replied. "Commander Jira has requested your presence, in private." Liam's heart skipped a beat. Did she say why? Rosa shook her head. "Just said it's important. The Viari guards are waiting to escort you." Liam nodded slowly. "All right." As he walked beside the guards down the silent corridor, crew members turned to look. No one said anything, but their expressions were full of questions. The guards said nothing either. Their silver eyes stared forward. Their armor clicked with each step. They stopped outside a large door near the Viari docking bay. One guard tapped a panel, and the door slid open. Commander Jira stood inside, near a small platform surrounded by glowing blue symbols. The room was quiet, cool, and empty of furniture. Only the symbols lit the walls. "You may leave us," Jira said to her guards. The guards bowed and stepped out. Liam entered. Jira looked at him for a moment, then pointed to the platform. "Stand there." Liam obeyed. He stepped onto the platform. The blue lights around him pulsed softly. Jira walked in a slow circle around him, her eyes scanning him from head to toe. "You carry the token," she said. Liam nodded. "Yes." "Means you accept what is coming." "I do." She stopped in front of him, then listened carefully. "In our tradition, before trust becomes bond, one must pass the test of truth. That test does not involve weapons. It involves your heart." "I understand," Liam said, even though he wasn't sure what would come next. Jira raised her hand. A beam of light appeared between them. Within the light floated an object, thin silver band with tiny marks across it. This, she said, is a Vayari memory ring. Shows moments from one's life. Pain, courage, honor, or shame. If you wear this, you will see what I have seen. You will feel what I have felt. Liam stared at the ring. And if I do, then you will understand me, she said quietly. And I will know if your words are true. She stepped forward and held out the ring. Liam looked at it for a second, then took a deep breath and placed it on his finger. Suddenly, the room disappeared. Images flooded his mind, flashes of battle. The sound of swords clashing, scream of ships burning in the sky. He saw a younger Jera standing on a battlefield, her face covered in dust and blood. Her comrades fell around her. She stood alone, fighting back, then dashed another memory. Jera, in a quiet room, her hands shaking as she received a medal from a council elder. No smile, only silence. Another flash, a dark space. She sat alone, holding a ring in her hands, the same ring Liam now wore. Her eyes were full of pain. Voice echoed, "You must never show weakness. Not even when you break inside." Liam's chest tightened. More memories. Jira speaking to her people, leading missions, winning wars, but always alone, always silent. Finally, he saw the moment from yesterday. Through her eyes, he saw himself. He saw his smile, his gentle eyes, the way he said the word beautiful, and he felt what she felt. Shock, confusion, but also warmth. The vision faded. Liam blinked. The room returned. He was breathing hard. His hands shook. Gera stood quietly, her face unreadable. He slowly removed the ring and handed it back to her. "I saw," he whispered. She looked at him. "And now I understand you," he said. "Not just your words, but your silence too." Jera stepped closer. "Then you passed the first trial." Liam looked up. "There's more." She gave a slight smile, just the edge of one lip. "Yes, but you are still standing. That is something." She held out her hand. Liam reached forward and shook it. Her grip was strong, but not cold. "I will speak to my people," she said. "You have shown something rare. Not many outsiders are willing to see the truth of our hearts." "I didn't mean to start all this," Liam said softly. "But you did," she replied. "And now it may change everything." The doors opened behind them. The Vayari guards entered once more, but this time, when they looked at Liam, they didn't show confusion or anger. They showed respect. The next day began quietly. The space station moved through the stars as usual, but something had shifted. On the human side, whispers still floated through the air about Liam, about Jira, and about the strange connection between them. But Liam didn't focus on the gossip. He had something more important on his mind. He stood outside the Vayari meeting chamber, holding the small trust token in his hand. The same guards from before nodded and let him in without a word. Was the first sign things were different. Inside, Commander Jira stood waiting. Her black armor shined in the dim blue light of the room. Her sharp eyes met his, calm but focused. "You came?" she said simply. "You asked," Liam replied. She motioned to a chair beside her, not across from her. Beside her, he sat down. For a few moments, neither spoke. The silence was not awkward. It was thoughtful. Then Jira broke it. "You passed the memory trial," she said. "Most outsiders would have turned away. You did not." "It was hard," Liam admitted. "But I didn't want to turn away from who you are." She looked at him closely. "And what do you think I am?" Liam thought for a moment. "You are a warrior, yes, but also someone who has carried too much alone. Someone who has never been seen until now." Jera's eyes didn't change, but her fingers curled slightly, as if those words touched something deep inside. "You speak with honesty," she said. "I'm still not sure if that is bravery or foolishness. Maybe both," Liam said with a smile. A soft sound escaped her lips, not quite a laugh, but close. "In our world, truth is often hidden behind strength. You speak it plainly. That is rare." "I don't want to play games," Liam said. "I want peace between our people, and I want to understand you." Jira stood and walked toward a glowing wall screen. She tapped a few buttons, and a star map appeared. Lines, connected systems, planets, and trade routes. This station, said pointing at a small dot, sits at the edge of many paths. If peace fails here, war will reach all corners. I know, Liam said. That's why I came here, to help avoid that. Jira turned back to him. There is one more step before I can fully trust you. A trial of action. What do I have to do? He asked. There is a young Vayari cadet trapped in a damaged wing of the station, she said. There was an accident during their ship's docking practice. The human side closed the section for safety. But the Vayari Council sees this as a test of responsibility. Liam stood. Is he hurt? Not badly. But he is alone and afraid. We have failed to retrieve him because the entry is too small. For Vayari armor, you, however, may fit. You want me to go in? Liam asked. Zhira nodded. If you bring him back safely, not only will the cadet be saved, but our people will see your actions, not just your words. Liam didn't hesitate. I'll go. 30 minutes later, Liam stood in front of a half-open hatch near the damaged section. Steam hissed from the sides. Emergency lights blinked in red dot. Captain Rosa stood nearby. Are you sure about this? She asked. Liam nodded. It's the right thing to do. Be careful. The oxygen levels are unstable in there. Take this mask. She handed it to him. Liam placed it over his face and crawled through the narrow passage. The metal walls felt. Cold and broken wires hung from the ceiling like vines. He moved slowly, his light flashing over the path. Hello? He called. Is anyone there? A soft reply came from deeper inside. Help. Liam followed the voice until he saw a small figure sitting against a wall. A young Vayari, maybe 12 or 13 by human age, wearing light armor with one leg caught under fallen metal. Liam rushed forward. Don't worry, I'm here to help. The cadet looked at him with wide silver eyes. You are human. Yes. But I'm a friend, Liam said gently. Let me free your leg. He pushed and lifted the broken piece carefully. The cadet cried out, but stayed still. Finally, the leg came free. Liam helped him up. Can you walk? The cadet winced but nodded. A little. Good. Hold on to me. We're getting out of here. Step by step, they moved back through the tight path. Liam supported most of the weight, breathing hard through the mask. Sweat rolled down his face, but he didn't stop. At last, they reached the exit. As they crawled out, Vayari guards rushed forward. One of them took the cadet into his arms. Jera stepped into view. She didn't say a word. But her eyes met Liam's and they were no longer cold. They were full of something new. Later that evening, Liam sat alone near the observation window, watching the stars. Jera approached silently and stood beside him. The wars. I'm so uncolossiling. We not inside asylum landing with so also lies elamize we lie wise they won't unlie why aren't on one lie on vol I'm so on my so I'm so fob I'm some so I'm so and so I some sis and so I so thousand and mo so oxas and us some man says so Council has spoken, she said. You have proven yourself with action. The cadet lives because of you. His family offered you honor in the old tongue. I didn't do it for honor, Liam said softly. I just wanted to help. Jira turned to face him. And that is why your words carry meaning. She reached into her armor and pulled out something small, another token. But this one shaped like a tiny star. She placed it in his hand. What's this? Liam asked. It is the second mark, she said. The sign that you have not only seen me, but now walk beside me. Liam looked up. What does that mean for us? Jera's voice dropped to a quiet tone. It means, your words are safe with me, and my strength is now shared with you. For a moment, there was no sound, just the stars beyond the glass, and beside them stood two figures, one human. One alien but no longer strangers. They were something new. News spread fast across the station. A human had entered a blocked section, saved a young VRE cadet, and returned alive. The VRE Council praised Liam's actions. Human officers respected his courage. For the first time, both sides were not just speaking, they were watching one man walk between two worlds. But Liam knew it wasn't over. Commander Jira had spoken to him after the rescue, telling him in quiet words that one final step remained. The trial of intent. This was not a rescue, not a memory sharing, not a token of trust. This was a public test. Jira had explained it simply. You said something that touched my soul. Before my people and yours, you must show it was not a mistake. Liam agreed. He didn't understand every part of the trial yet, but he knew what it meant, to prove that his words carried truth, not just politeness. 2 days later, a large hall on the station was prepared for the trial. It was round, with tall metal walls and rows of seats for both humans and VRE. Captain Rosa sat in the front row with her officers. On the other side, VRE elders and commanders stood quietly. Between them was a platform, empty, waiting. Liam stepped into the chamber wearing a plain black uniform. No medals, no rank. Just himself. Jera waited at the center of the room. She wore full armor, red lines painted across her chest. This was a VRE sign of high ceremony. When Liam joined her on the platform, a quiet buzz passed through the room. All eyes locked on him. Jera spoke, her voice strong and calm. This human spoke words meant only for those who carry deep honor. He said I was beautiful, without knowing the weight of such a word. Since then, he has shown courage and truth. But words must be tested. She turned to Liam. Are you prepared? Yes, he answered. A VRE elder stepped forward and held out a small black cube. Jera took it and placed it on the ground between them. With one press, the cube glowed and projected symbols into the air. Liam stared at them, confused. These are old phrases, Jera said. You must read them aloud, not just say them, but mean them. Liam looked at the first line. The symbols shifted into translated text. I see not only what stands before me, but what hides behind the silence. He read the line softly. Jera nodded. Again with your heart. He closed his eyes, thought about her memories, her pain, her silence, and said it again, louder, slower, with feeling. I see not only what stands before me, but what hides behind the silence. The cube beeped once. Accepted. The next line appeared. I do not turn away from strength. I do not fear the fire within. Liam remembered the way she led her people, how she stood alone in battles, and how no one had dared to know her beyond her rank. He repeated the line clearly. The cube glowed brighter. The last line appeared. I honor the soul behind the shield. This time Liam looked straight into Jira's eyes as he said the words. I honor the soul behind the shield. The room stayed silent, then the cube flashed green and disappeared. Jira stepped forward. You have spoken the three truths. But now comes the hardest part. She raised her hand. A second cube floated up between them. It projected an image. 2 glowing stones. One red. One blue. Jera spoke to the crowd. He must now choose. One stone leads to full peace between our sides. But it also binds his promise forever. He will walk between our people and carry this truth for life. The other stone ends the trial. Breaks all trust. He may return to his kind without shame, but never again walk beside me. She turned to Liam. The choice is yours. Liam looked at the 2 stones. The red one pulsed like a heartbeat. The blue one was calm, like still water. He already knew the answer. Without fear, he reached forward and touched the red stone. A strong light filled the room. Warm and bright, the crowd gasped. ZH Ira stepped forward. Then it is done. You have chosen to walk the path. Not as a visitor, but as one who belongs. She reached into her armor and pulled out a silver band. Wrist. This is a binding mark. Not a chain, but a symbol. It means your words are now part of my name. My strength is part of yours. Liam looked at the band. It was warm, not heavy. Like a living promise, the Veyari elders bowed slightly. Captain. Rosa stood and clapped. The humans followed. For the first time, two sides cheered together. Later that evening, Jira and Liam stood in the quiet garden of the station. Small trees from earth and Veyari soil grew side by side. They watched the stars you have done. Something no one expected, Jira said softly. So did you, Liam replied. She glanced at him. What do you think happens next? He smiled. Maybe something better than before. Jira looked up at the sky, spoke a simple word, and it reached a place no battle ever could. Sometimes the smallest words are the strongest, Liam said. Jira gave a small nod. You saw me not as a leader, not as a weapon, but as someone who could be seen. That changed everything. She turned to him and added, I will. Never forget that. They stood side by side as the stars moved above them, and for the first time in history, a bond between two hearts began to shape the fate of two worlds. The grand hall of the Veyari Council was filled with light and shadow. Tall pillars rose to the ceiling, and ancient banners hung on the walls telling stories of warriors and heroes. At the center stood Commander Jira, tall and proud, wearing her ceremonial armor. Beside her stood Liam, the human who had walked the path few dared to take. The council members sat in a wide circle, their eyes sharp and watchful. Some wore glowing jewels, others simple robes, but all carried the weight of their people's history. Jira raised her hand, and the room quieted instantly. I bring before you a human, she began, her voice strong. A man who spoke words of honor without full knowledge yet proved their truth through action. His courage saved one of our own, and his heart accepted our trials. The council murmured. Some faces showed surprise, others suspicion. Jira looked at Liam. He has passed the trial of intent. But more than that, he has shown respect to our way and to me. Liam stepped forward. I did not come seeking glory, he said. I only wished to build peace between our people. A tall elder spoke next. Peace is not won by words alone, human. It is earned with blood and sacrifice. Liam nodded. I understand. That is why I accepted the trials. Because words without meaning are empty, Jira continued. Our laws allow me, as commander, to grant a bond to one outside our race. This bond is not marriage, but a sacred alliance and oath of mutual respect and trust. She held up Liam's wrist, showing the silver band that glowed softly. By accepting this bond, she said, he accepts our people as his own, and we accept him. The council fell silent. Then one by one, members stood and bowed. Let it be known. The elder leader said that this alliance is recognized. Let it be a symbol of hope for all. Cheers echoed through the hall. Liam felt the weight of the moment settle on his shoulders. This was bigger than him. It's bigger than any one person. After the ceremony, Liam and Jira stepped outside to the cool night air of the station's garden. The stars glittered above like distant fires. Jira turned to Liam. Your words were more than a greeting. They were a key. You opened a door few outsiders ever see. Liam smiled, only spoke what I saw. You saw not just a warrior, she said softly. You saw a person? They walked slowly through the garden, leaves rustling in the gentle breeze. Jira stopped by a small tree, its branches reaching toward the sky. In our culture, she explained, words are often weapons or shields. But true strength is in truth spoken with respect. Liam nodded, and sometimes the hardest truth is to see someone for who they really are. She looked at him, eyes shining in the moonlight. You have done more than survive trials, she said. You have built a bridge. For the first time, her face softened with a small smile. Liam felt a warmth spread inside him. The future was still unknown. There would be challenges ahead, but for this moment, between two very different worlds, something new was born. Months passed since the ceremony in the Veyari Council Hall. The space station continued to be a place where two worlds met, sometimes with tension, sometimes with hope. Liam had changed. No longer just a translator or a visitor, he now held a special place between humans and Viari. He wore the silver band proudly on his wrist, a symbol of trust and alliance. Commander Jira had changed too. She still carried the strength of a warrior, but there was a new calm in her eyes. When she walked among humans or her own people, whispers followed. Some wondered about their unusual friendship. Others admired the new peace growing between their worlds. One quiet evening, Liam stood by a window looking out into the stars. The lights of the station glowed softly behind him. The sky was deep black, dotted with millions of distant suns. Jira joined him, her footsteps quiet on the metal floor. "You look tired?" she said with a soft smile. Liam laughed quietly. "It has been a long journey," she nodded. "A journey not only of miles, but of hearts." He turned to her. "I never expected a simple word could change so much." "Neither did I," Jira said. "You told me I was beautiful, not as a soldier, but as a person. That was brave." Liam smiled. "You deserve to hear it." She looked at him closely. "And now many see it too." The peace treaty between humans and Viari had grown stronger. Trade routes opened. Cultural exchanges began. Children from both worlds played together in parks on the station, but the bond between Liam and Jira was something special and unspoken, yet clear. They worked side by side to guide their people toward friendship. One day, a young human officer approached Liam. "Commander Jira wants to see you," she said. "It's important." Liam nodded and made his way to the Viari ship docked nearby. Inside, Jira waited in her private chamber. She smiled as he entered. "There is something I want to give you," she said. She held out a small, delicate necklace made of glowing crystals, half blue, half silver. "This is a symbol of Viari trust," she explained. "Only given to those we hold close." Liam took it, feeling its warmth. He looked up at her. "Why me?" Jera's eyes softened. "Because you saw me. Not as a commander or a warrior, but as someone worth knowing. Because you spoke truth when it mattered." He smiled. "And because you trusted me." They stood together quietly. The galaxy beyond their window was vast and full of unknown dangers. But here in this moment, two very different beings had built a bridge. Back on the station, the peace talks continued with new energy. The Viari and humans shared knowledge about technology, art, and history. They learned from each other. Breaking down walls built by fear and misunderstanding, Liam often found himself walking the halls with Jira, discussing plans and dreams. One day, as they watched a sunset from the observation deck, Jira turned to Liam. "What do you think the future holds for us?" she asked. Liam thought carefully. "I think the future will be better than the past, because we chose to see each other as more than strangers." She smiled. "Yes, because sometimes a single word can change the course of history." Liam reached out and gently took her hand. "For me," he said, "that word was beautiful." Jera squeezed his hand. "And for me, it was the first time I was truly seen." Together they looked out at the stars, two souls connected across worlds. A new story had begun. One of hope, one of friendship, one of humanity and the strength it brought to the galaxy.